Daikon here. I figured since I'm making something, I might as well kind of give you a tour of my thought process when it comes to making something. Notice the mess. Well, my room was clean yesterday before Johnny, aka 5000 Photography, and I decided to make a book for one of our favorite bands. Why? The band, if you can hear it in the background, that's playing. These are a couple pages that I did, collage pages for the book for Why. This is Anubis, my cat, and here's my other cat, Miss Isis, the love whore. Anyways, they help in some way. But we got our images from a bunch of books that I have collected from thrift stores and a nice collection of National Geographics. Some of them from, let's see, this is from 1965, 1959. The rest of them are pretty much from the 70s. You can see here my sewing desk. I just moved in, so I don't have things really totally sorted out, but a couple of my creations. This one featured on DeviantArt as on the main page. And also for this Y concert, I altered one of their t-shirts and added some awesomeness to it to make it my own. So yeah, we're pretty serious about this. More craft items and art items, but just a taste on how I make things. Hello, Daikon here, Daikon Eclectic, and I'm kind of having to do this MySpace photo style, me holding the camera on myself, so if the angles look a little bit awkward, it's because they are, because I'm holding the camera. Anyways, my room is still a mess from the project that I had worked on with Johnny, and I just wanted to show you some other things that I have made. This is something I just did last night. It's small, but you can see my thought process here with you can see how it started as a sketch and ended up as a painting. The paints that I use are actually cheap paints, apple barrel paints, any kind of cheap kind of craft paint that's acrylic, because they're cheap and they work just fine depending on how you layer them. And if you can see that, my mess of brushes. I also last summer made a quilt. Yeah, like old ladies do, except cooler because I'm not an old lady yet, and I made a quilt. So let's go downstairs and I'll show you some of my other things. Okay, as I mentioned, I just moved in, so I don't have a lot of my stuff anywhere besides this nice, supposed to be dining room area. But let's go start with a little tour of some of my art. This one I like a lot because of my use of the Hitler stamps that I had, but in a way that was positive. Somehow a lot of my stuff ends up becoming anti-war. Wonder why. My next. This was actually at Modify. I did this for one of the shows. The Summer Solstice Show, put on by Sights and Sound. It's mixed media, got yarn, got seashells, and this to go with it, which in the shitty lighting you can't really even tell what it is. But the frame I got at a flea market. This is one of my favorites I did. I don't have a frame for it yet. This is an odd size. This over here I did because I have this thing where I think pigeons need arms, and thus I gave this pigeon arms. Gave him mini arms, like a Hindu god. This used to be a really ugly duck picture, but now it's incredibly awesome. At least I think so. Another one of my favorites, What Would John Do? Another kind of anti-war with words typed out in my vintage typewriter. And I got a shot of the Fab Foursome. For some reason, I like to give people halos in a lot of my work. Except for this guy, who's actually kind of holy, but no halo for, well, different type of halo. He doesn't have the typical circle behind him, Catholic circle halo. These guys I also did for an art show at Modified. And actually they're supposed to go opposite of the way they are sitting. They're supposed to go side by side, but the opposite way. And this was one of the first paintings I had done in a long time. It's actually a customer that came into my store when I worked at Sally Beauty Supply in Indio. Long story about him. All this junk over here, well, these are things that I buy at thrift stores to put on my wall. I don't put my own art on the wall. I put tacky 70s art like such. Except for these, I plan on making art and putting inside of them. Grapevines for $1. And more. Soon my walls will be covered with all this lovely tacky stuff. I also love altering things. These are 2 suitcases that I found at the thrift store that I have altered. This one has a lovely new monster fur inside. This one is decoupaged on both sides and repainted, and everything, its contents just happen to fall out. And it is also monster fur inside. Let's ignore the mess that just fell out of it. And this is was a record sleeve that I turned into a journal to hold all of my poetry. And I put a bunch of cool paper inside. Cool to me anyways. And that's about it. So there you have it. A look at me, what I do. Well, some of what I do anyways. And thank you for the Coachella Valley art scene. No. And thank you to the Coachella Valley art scene blog for featuring me. See, I'm at a loss for words right now. I'm so at a loss for words since you featured me. But thank you very much. And I hope you all enjoyed my interview and these video things. And stay classy, San Diego.